The night the record shop closed, I heard a song that stopped me on the street. The sound came out of a small radio in the window. I stood there, and I felt the city move like the music. The lights were warm, people walked slowly, the air smelled of rain and fried food. I wanted to know everything about that sound. I was young then. I lived in a small flat above a bakery. My window looked over the street. Every evening I walked to the corner where the record shop and the cinema met. The shop had posters on the glass. The posters showed bright colors and big hair. The shop smelled of paper and glue and old vinyl. The owner, Mr. Silva, always smiled. He knew many songs. He played records for anyone who came in. That night, the shop closed early. A man in a brown coat put a sign on the door. The sign said, "Closed for a party." I pressed my face to the glass. Inside, people danced. They wore bell-bottom pants and shiny shirts. A woman with a long scarf moved like a river. A man with a big mustache clapped his hands. The radio played a slow, warm beat. I felt my feet move without thinking. I wanted to go in, but the door was locked. I walked to the cinema next door. The cinema showed films with long hair and bright lights. A poster for a new movie hung on the wall. The poster had a picture of a band on a stage. The band looked free and loud. I thought of the song in the record shop. I thought of the people dancing. I wanted to be part of that night. I walked down the street. The street had small shops and a cafe with a neon sign. The neon sign blinked in red and blue. Inside the cafe, a man played a guitar. He sang soft songs about the city. People sat on wooden chairs and drank coffee from white cups. A woman painted a small picture on the wall. Her brush moved slow and sure. The painting had bright colors like the posters in the record shop. I sat at the window and watched. A boy came in with a skateboard. He had long hair and a smile. He told the guitar player about a new dance at the club. He said the dance had lights that moved like stars. I walked again. The city felt alive. People talked about art and music and the news. A group of young people stood near a wall with graffiti. The graffiti had bright shapes and words. They spoke about a new art show in a small gallery. They said the show had paintings that moved like music. I liked the idea. I liked the way art and music mixed in the city. I found a small gallery with a wooden door. Inside, paintings hung close together. The paintings had many colors and strange shapes. One painting looked like a record. Another looked like a dancing woman. The gallery smelled of paint and coffee. A woman with a short haircut talked to a man in a blue jacket. They spoke softly about the painter. I listened. The painter used old photos in new colors. He wanted to show the life of the city. I felt the city in the paintings. Outside the gallery, a street musician played a saxophone. The sound was warm and a little sad. People stopped and listened. A child clapped. An old man tapped his foot. The saxophone made the night slow and sweet. I closed my eyes and remembered the song in the record shop. The saxophone and the radio song mixed in my head. I felt like I was inside a movie. I walked to the river. The river had small boats and a bridge with lights. On the bridge, two lovers held hands. They looked at the water and the city lights. A bus passed, and the music from inside the bus spilled into the street. The music was loud and happy. People on the bus sang along. I smiled and felt warm. I thought about the clothes people wore. Many wore bright shirts and wide pants. Shoes had thick soles. Women wore long skirts and big earrings. Men had long hair and mustaches. The style was loud and free. It said, "We want to live and sing." I liked the colors and the shapes. They made the city look like a painting. I remembered the food on the street. Small stands sold fried snacks and sweet cakes. The smell of spices and sugar mixed with the music. People ate and talked and laughed. A man sold orange juice in glass bottles. He opened a bottle and the sound was like a small bell. I drank and felt the cold juice on my tongue. The taste was simple and good. I walked back to the record shop. The sign still said, "Closed for a party." I pressed my hand to the glass. Inside, people danced and talked. Mr. Silva saw me and waved. He opened the door a little and said, "Come in." My heart jumped. I stepped inside and the music wrapped around me like a blanket. The room was full of records. The walls had posters of singers and bands. A record player sat on a wooden table. Mr. Silva put a record on the player. The needle touched the vinyl, and the room filled with sound. The song was the same one I heard before. Now I could hear the words. The words were simple and kind. They spoke about the city and the night and the people who live there. A woman with a scarf asked me to dance. Her hands were warm. We moved slowly at first. Then the music grew and our steps grew with it. People clapped and laughed. A man played a tambourine and a woman sang with a voice like honey. I felt like I belonged. I felt like the city and the music and the art were one thing. Mr. Silva told stories about the records. He said each record had a life. He said people put their feelings into songs. He said the 1970s were a time to try new things. People painted, danced, and made music in small rooms and big halls. They wanted to speak and to be heard. I listened, and I learned. When the night ended, the people left slowly. The street was quiet and soft. I walked home with the song in my head. I opened my window and looked at the city. The lights were like small stars. I put the song on a small tape recorder, and I played it again and again. The sound filled my room and my heart. Years later, I still remember that night. I remember the warm lights, the smell of coffee, the sound of the saxophone, and the record that stopped me on the street. The 1970s were not perfect, but they were full of color and sound. People made art and music in small places. They shared food and stories. They danced under neon lights and painted on walls. The city was a big, loud song. If you close your eyes, you can hear it too. You can see the posters, the bell-bottoms, the record shop, and the river lights. You can feel the music in your feet and the paint on your hands. The song that stopped me on the street will still play in your mind. It will make you walk slowly, look at the windows, and listen to the city breathe.